Good evening, good evening. I hope you guys are doing well. It's BackChat. Welcome to BackChat once again. My name is Timba Madima. And tonight we've got a special guest. Dominique Scott will be joining us tonight. So, super excited about that. I think there's so much we're going to be able to learn and hear from Dominique. I'm going to welcome her on now, and then we're going to get going. Welcome to BackChat. Tonight, as I said, we're going to be chatting to Dominique Scott. I'm just waiting for her to accept the invite, and then we're going to get going. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, and you? How are you doing, Dominique?
I'm doing great, thanks. It's midday here in Crested Butte, Colorado, though, so not evening yet.
That's amazing. I mean, the time difference always blows my mind. It's an 8-hour time difference, right?
Yeah, 8 hour time difference. We're in the middle of summer, but because we're up in the mountains, it's like perfect weather. It's like nice and
Don't say this.
sunny.
You're breaking my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, it's winter out here. We got our heaters on, trying to keep warm.
Yeah, I know. I spoke to my sister this morning and she said the same thing down in Cape Town. It's pretty cold too.
Even worse in Cape Town, I'm sure.
Yeah, wet.
Yeah, anyways, welcome to BackChat. Such an honor to have you here. I think there's so much we're going to learn from you, and there's so much that I'm looking forward to hear. I think a lot of people are excited to see Dominique Scott-Efurd. It's Efford, right?
Eford, yeah, you're
Good.
close enough.
Close enough, yeah. But obviously, most people know you as Dom Scott. So really excited about tonight. So before we get going, I'm gonna do a short introduction, just to so that everybody who's watching can know who we talking to, who we dealing with here. So I'm gonna do a quick intro. I won't take too long.
Perfect.
It's not the IAAF intro that you usually get. It's a slightly more African.
Cool. I love it.
All right. So with us we got Dominique Scott-Efurd, known as Dom Scott. She is an Olympic Games 10,000-meter finalist, World Championships 5,000-meter finalist, South African 5,000-meter champion, 5-time NCAA champion, 7-time SA indoor record holder. I know it's a bit more. I'm just counting the 7 events. There will be a bit more records. I know that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Dominique Scott-Efurd.
Thanks for having me on Backtrack live Instagram.
Yeah, BackChat. We decided we needed to have more conversations with the athletes, and people are loving it. Getting to hear the stories and the insight. That you guys as the athletes have to share is always amazing. I learned so much on this show. I'm always making notes. I've got my book as well in case I have to take some secrets out here. But absolutely grateful to have you on this show. Super. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. So before we get started, obviously, um, as you mentioned, it's summer that side, obviously. So how's things going on your side? Are you guys back to training? How have you been during this? Obviously, it's a slightly more crazy time in the world at the moment. How have you been?
Yeah, so my teammates and I, we got pretty lucky. So I live at the moment in Boulder, Colorado, which is about a 4 hour drive down the mountain from where I am right now.
Yeah.
In Boulder, around the middle of March, things started to get closed down.
Okay.
We were able to kind of separate into like partners for training for a little bit, and we tried to just maintain our distance when running together, like on the other side of the path, or other side of the road, and we were wearing masks over our face while running. But then kind of like the rulings and the lockdowns started to get a little bit more stringent, where luckily we were still allowed to get outside, so we could still go and train, but we weren't allowed to be with anyone else.
Okay.
So we stopped running with friends or with my teammates, and we started just training by ourselves. But once again, very lucky because I was still able to get outside. Being a distance runner too, I could use, the dirt roads,
Yes, yes,
the
yes,
regular roads. I didn't
yes.
really necessarily need a track to do my workouts. And then got very lucky too, because my coach, Joe Bosshard, he just last summer started or opened his own gym, kind of like a garage gym, just like a
Yeah.
little bit nicer. Um, so we were able to go into that gym and still get our strength workouts in. We were going in one at a time.
Oh,
But so our training, we were so lucky. It wasn't really affected dramatically or drastically. You know, apart from having to be solo, not too much else changed. When COVID hit and all our races started getting canceled, we went back into a base phase training
mm,
cycle. So more of like a winter
yes,
strength
yes.
training. So we were doing a lot of longer intervals. I actually started doing 2 workouts a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. That was new for me. And slowly but surely, things started opening back up in Boulder, where we were allowed to meet as a team again, which was great. That was maybe like 6 weeks ago. And then 3 weeks ago, we decided to come up to the mountains, get even higher elevation. So, right in Boulder, we're about, I think it's like around 5,000 feet. And up here in Crested Butte, which is like similar to Johannesburg, I think.
Oh, yes, like 1,004. Okay.
Yeah, but we came up to Crested Butte, which is like double the height. It's like 9,000 feet elevation.
Well,
So it's truly hard to breathe up here, hard to train
that's
up
like in
here.
Lesotho.
Yeah, but we just get so strong. There aren't really many distractions, you know, from family and all of that type of thing. So really just able to get in good training, isolated ourselves amongst our teammates. So for the past 3 weeks, we've been training really hard up here, and we have about 2 more weeks up here before we go back to our husbands and normal life again.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing Cameron. That's probably the hardest part about these training camps. I love my teammates, and we get to train in one of the most beautiful places in the world, but definitely start missing Cam and my dog Bailey, and just like sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah,
You know, I think there are pros and cons to everything in life, and you know,
absolutely.
there are a lot of pros to being on an altitude camp, but yeah, definitely start to miss like your home comforts.
Absolutely. It's interesting to hear like how things are a bit different that side than they are here. So it's always good to get that insight. But before we go any further, we're gonna play a game. Um, we just want to test that if you know your running skills are on point. Let's see how quick you can think on your feet. It's very simple. It should be easy.
Okay.
You know, this is like stuff for athletes. So 30 seconds is the game. I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you a very simple question. It's what's in the bag. So name as much things as possible that you have in your training bag, and you've got 30 seconds. The record is currently at 15 by Taylor and Build. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Okay, I've got a sweat towel, I've got my
Yeah.
water bottle,
Yeah.
I've got like my flats or spikes. We can just do one for that. Whatever like shoes I'm needing.
Okay.
I have hand sanitizer. I
Okay.
have
Okay.
my hypervolt, like a gun.
Okay. Go. Let's
I
go. Let's
have
go.
a hairbrush. I have an extra hair tie. I have my earpods. I have my phone. Um, Oh, I have my
And
bands, my
5.
bands. Ah, okay, 10. I think I got 10.
I'll give you 10.
Okay, 15 is a lot.
Yeah, she was
That's a
going.
full
She was going.
bag.
You're still explaining why you have it in there.
Yeah.
Just, but 10 is not bad. So far, you ranked second in the 30 seconds game. So
Okay, I'll take second.
it's respectable. All right, so let's get into more questions. I think there's so much that I think your career and your running has so much depth and so much also like time. The longevity of how long you've been running. It's actually it's quite amazing. So can you just tell us how did this all start? I know the back end story that your mom used to be also a phenomenal athlete, Renee Scott. She's also two times comrades winner, right? Gold medals.
Or I think 3 times, but like one time didn't
Okay.
count or something
Yeah, they
because
didn't
I
count.
think
Yeah, I've got two on my on my on my stats.
Yeah, I can definitely tell, like, I'll give a little fast track of like how I got into running. My mom got into running. Her first run was only when she was 21 years old.
Wow.
But then she started running on the marathon and ultra marathon circuit in South Africa. And she was actually running for Adidas South Africa too, which is pretty
Wow.
cool.
That's good.
And yeah, I think like her claim to fame is definitely from the Comrades Marathon, being a 2 or 3 times top 10, which is gold medalist. So I definitely grew up watching my mom. She was also a teacher, a full-time teacher. So
Okay.
I watched her, wake up very early in the mornings, go out, get her training runs in, come home, take care of my sister and I, and go and teach a full day of school.
Wow.
So my mom definitely showed me what hard work and discipline looks like, and showed me what a good work ethic looks like. She also showed me what it's like to pursue a big goal and a big dream, and kind of the little sacrifices that you have to make along the way. So definitely owe a lot to my mom. When I was young and in school, I went to Herschel Girls Preparatory School in Claremont in Cape Town. I loved sports. Like I just wanted to play every sport possible. In the summer months, I was, doing team swimming. I was doing when we could do water polo, I think like grade 7, I was doing water polo. I was also doing triathlon at the time. So, fitting in some cycling as well. And then in the winter months, I was playing netball and field hockey and
Wow.
doing cross country. So I was really doing like every sport pretty much that was offered at Herschel. I was lucky that you could do multiple sports in one season, but it was definitely my running or my endurance ability that made me good at those sports and allowed
Yes,
me
yes.
to like make the teams. In triathlon, I was the better runner, et cetera, et cetera. So just kind of found myself naturally gravitating more and more towards the running. And my
Mm.
mom was the cross country coach at Herschel. So I kind of got connected with that team pretty early on. I was going to team camps with the Bishop's boys, like I think from when I was like 4 years old or something, like
Wow.
super young, but like couldn't run yet. And then like it just kind of like naturally grew from there. I remember going to my first Western Province trials, cross country trials. I think, I think I was like in third grade or something. I don't know. And I had been really enjoying cross country races, but went to the race, came 44th, like got my, butt whipped. And I went up to my mom crying afterwards, obviously hadn't made the Western Province team, and I was so upset. And she asked me, "Why are you upset?" And I was like, "Isn't it obvious I didn't make the team?" And my mom said, she was like, "Did you expect to make the team?" She was like, "You haven't been training." And it was then that I realized that if you wanted to get good at something, you actually had to put in the
Great.
effort, you had to train. And from there, kind of, there was no looking back. It was like, now I'm going to be training for something. I'm going to be setting my goals towards something. When I was in grade 8, so up until grade 8, I'd only been running cross country. In grade 8, my mom entered me in my first track race, which was at the old Greenpoint track where the soccer stadium is now.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I ran a 1500 and broke 5 minutes. And some officials came up to my mom afterwards and they were like, "That was so good. Like her first track race ever.
Wow.
She broke five
Yeah.
minutes in the 1500." Which really doesn't seem that impressive. But I guess because I was young and there weren't too many girls running at the time, the officials were kind of impressed. And I really enjoyed running on the track. It just felt like I was almost flying compared to cross country, where
Yeah.
you're kind of
Absolutely.
like treading through the grass. And so my mom started looking for a track coach for me, and she found Johan Furry out in Stellenbosch,
Oh, yeah.
who his team is the Dog Squad. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
twice a
So
week
that's where
after
that comes
school,
from.
yeah, twice a week after school, my mom was driving me out to Stellenbosch from Cape Town, and I would train with Johan's group, and I loved it. I just felt like I'd finally like found my people and my friends, and obviously like training with young like-minded athletes just made me love the sport even more and made me start to excel. So after about 6 months, I knew that if I wanted to take that next step towards like being an even better runner and possibly, you know, getting a scholarship to the States and, you know, maybe being an Olympian, that I needed to be training with Johan's group every day, not just twice a week. But I didn't feel like I could ask my mom to drive me out to Stellenbosch twice a week. You know, it's like almost an hour drive, and she would just wait for me while I was running.
Yeah.
So I started looking at schools out in Stellenbosch to become a weekly boarder. And that's what took me to Ranish Girls High School in the middle of my ninth grade year. And it was not an easy transition. Like I said, I'd been very connected in the Herschel community because my mom was a teacher and a coach there. But it was the best thing I ever did for myself. Training with Johan's group, the dog squad, on a daily basis, just really helped me take that next step in my running, and ultimately, you know, allowed me to earn a scholarship to the States. I chose to go to the University of Arkansas, go Hogs. And and when I got to the States, you know, that was another big adjustment. And I was not the best runner on the team. I wasn't even the best first year. It really was a hard adjustment. Also went from being one of the better runners in South Africa to all of a sudden, like I said, I'm not even the best runner on my team. So that was kind of, you know, kind of like a small fish in the big pond type of situation. It was a hard adjustment. But slowly but surely, like, started to get better, and the competitiveness of the NCAA in the States really allowed me to grow and get tested.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the end of 5 years, I had won 5 national titles, which in the States, the NCAA gets quite a bit of
That's a
like
big
press.
deal.
Yeah, it's
That's
a big deal. Yeah. Got quite a bit of like press and publicity, which was amazing. So I was able to sign a contract with Adidas International. Later that summer, went on to represent South Africa in the Rio Olympic Games. And now we're like a few years later down the line, and, you know, represented South Africa at some other cool events like World Indoors in 2018, the World Cross Country Champs last year, World Outdoor Champs last year. And my husband and I moved to Boulder, Colorado, so I could be training with a very good, very talented group of athletes.
Yeah.
It's a hectic squad. It really is. Yeah, you definitely get humbled being in my group. You always have someone running next to you. There's, you know, you're never going to drop your teammates, but it makes me better. It makes me a better athlete, and that's what I'm striving to be the best possible athlete I can be.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I was looking at some of your posts, and, you know, your training partners. I mean, they're some of the best middle distance runners in the world, you know, and obviously
Oh yeah.
that does
I
so
mean, to
much
put
for
it
your
into
training.
perspective for people, I have a teammate, Corey McGee, who's run a 404, I think 404, 1500. Aisha Pratley has also run 404, 1500. Emma Coburn, world champion in the steeplechase in 2017. She got bronze in Rio. She got silver last year in Doha. Then I have, oh my gosh, I'm totally gonna miss people, but I have Laura Thweet, who's a marathoner. She got 5th at the U.S. Olympic trials. She's run a 2:25 marathon. You know, so just have so much depth in my training group that there's always someone that's pulling you and pushing you to be a better athlete in every type of workout, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. It sounds like you guys really push each other to the mix. And I saw also you've got a race coming up. I saw on the 27th, you guys are running a mile.
Yeah, so obviously we haven't been able to race for a while. All our races were canceled, and my coach wanted to give us some type of goal for the season. So Joe Bossard, my coach, has organized a mile for us at quite a bit lower altitude, still in Colorado. I think we'll be at around 4,000 feet, so a little bit lower than Johannesburg. And we're going to go after the Colorado State mile record. So for the boys, that's 4:01. There's never been a sub 4-minute mile run on Colorado soil. So that'd be pretty exciting if they could do that. Yeah. And then the girls' record is 4:36. And we're going to try break that. It's going to be really fun. We're trying to get people to pledge and donate money, like $1 per second that we run under the record. And it's going towards a really cool organization called the Sachs Foundation, which gives scholarships to Black Colorado residents for like tertiary education.
That's
So
amazing.
kind of a good well, it is a good
Yeah,
cause, and it should be
definitely.
fun, and just giving us an opportunity to spike up and to run hard, which we haven't really done in a while.
Absolutely. I think that'll be fun to watch as well. And also taking off the rust of the legs a bit. That should be
Yeah.
interesting. I'm gonna look at I just wanna if you guys wanna send questions to Dominique, I've got a few questions that are already sent. But if you wanna send questions, you can do so right now as we're chatting. I'm gonna look at some of the comments that people have sent. So much love that you're getting here. People are saying, "I love you, Dominique." And there's I see Jess Lang was like, Dom is such a wonderful person. Met her from
Aw.
Austria a few years back. So obviously you can see there's we've got people. Was it Byron Floriano from Ecuador is joining in also to see what you have to say. Jabulani Ngamane, Keegan, Rachel, runs. We see you. Sifarzo is laughing at my English. Your English sounds better than mine apparently.
Well,
Tell us.
I have a very twisted accent now, so.
I was about to say, like, when did you shake off your South African accent when you got to America?
I think it kind of just happened gradually, but definitely when I first got to the States, had a very strong South African accent, and just people were kind of like picking it apart. You know, they'd always ask me to repeat myself and, you know, asking me why I called something, you know, what I did. And it just started to become tiring to have to like repeat myself or explain myself. So I just started changing, unfortunately, to speaking how
When you saying
people
stuff like,
speak here.
I'm sure you were saying stuff like "stop at the robots," and they're like, "Robots."
Exactly, like robots and like zebra crossing and blinkers instead of indicators, like just so many little things like that that it just got tiring to have to explain myself. So I started to just kind of adapt.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it. You have to adapt. We see Emma Coburn is here, the world champ. Big up to her as well.
Yeah, Amazon like the next room.
Emma's also asking, where is the favorite place to train in South Africa? Where is your favorite place to train in South Africa?
I would have to say along the Greenpoint Promenade. I technically don't run on the promenade because of the cobblestones, but I love running that strip kind of from like the Cape Town waterfront, V&A waterfront, all the way to like Camps Bay or even slightly further and back. Just running along the coast, getting to run alongside the ocean, have the
Yeah.
ocean breeze, but then you also have the mountain on the
Oh
other
yeah.
side. It's just gorgeous. I do a lot of my long runs out along that strip when I'm at home.
But I'm sure Emma already knew that, but thanks. It's a good question, Emma. Thank you.
She probably did.
They ask pacer training is asking, how do you deal with injuries?
That's a good question. To be honest, my teammates probably wouldn't want me to answer this question because, or they would say I'm not a good person to answer this question because I've been very lucky, knock on wood, that I haven't had too many injuries during my career. I'm sure there are
That's great.
a lot ahead of me, but up until now they haven't been too many and they haven't been too hectic or too drastic. But watching my teammates, like they do such a good job of just focusing on what they can control, you know, and normally that's doing their rehab, making sure
Yeah.
they're still following a healthy diet, giving themselves all the nutrients and protein and all of that stuff that they need. But unfortunately, injuries is just part of the job. It's, you know, part of training so hard and pushing our body to the limit on almost a daily basis. So injuries are, you know, kind of a given.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would just say be kind to yourself during that period. Um, it's very easy to get frustrated and to compare yourself to your teammates and your competitors, but just trying to focus on what you can control.
Absolutely. Obviously eating clean, as you mentioned. So what are you guys eating on cheat day? How does cheat day look like? Or what is it? It's the team boss, right? You guys call yourself team boss?
Yeah, team boss.
Sounds like you guys go big on cheat day.
We actually we don't have cheat days. Like we
That's
don't
true.
believe in a cheat day. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything in moderation for us. So,
absolutely.
we really enjoy our food and we don't deprive ourselves of anything. Last night I had a big steak. I had a glass of red wine with my steak. This morning I had eggs and hash browns, which for South Africans is like shredded potatoes. And
Oh.
they're delicious, and bacon. We really try. I had an ice cream last night for dessert. We really try not to deprive ourselves of anything because we just think that that leads towards unhealthy habits.
Yeah.
And so just a little bit of everything. I think, everything in moderation is good for you. Nothing too much of anything is bad for you, even something healthy.
Yeah.
So really just listening to our bodies and giving ourselves what we need, what our body's telling us we need. We also eat a ton when we're up at altitude. Like you guys would probably be surprised. Like we have a meal before we go run, like toast with peanut butter and banana. Then after our run, we'll eat some type of brunch breakfast food, with like eggs and bacon and some type of carb and fruit. Then a few hours later, again, we'll eat a late lunch. So that's different for everyone. If it's like a sandwich and chips or a tuna salad or something like
Yeah.
that. And then, a few hours later, we're having dinner again and then dessert. So we definitely make sure that we're always fueling, eating good, clean food, but also spoiling ourselves every now and then and letting ourselves have some ice cream or chocolate or whatever it is that you're craving.
Absolutely. We spoke to Stephen Mukoka on Friday, and he basically broke down the myth about long distance runners eating the most. He says in one run he's burning close to 1,000 calories, so you can imagine how much long and middle distance runners have to eat. So it's energy end of the day, and you're saying everything's all about moderation and enjoying it. Running is such a grueling sport. If you're gonna limit yourself and not even enjoy food or anything, about it, or everything has so many limitations, it ends up becoming something that you dread.
Yeah, you're so right. There are a lot of things that, we do kind of say no to during the season, whether it be something that's too taxing on our body or, missing out on a family function or a
Yeah, yeah,
wedding, friend's wedding or something like that. Like you got to enjoy life a little bit. So if that means
yeah.
eating a piece of chocolate or two at night, you got to do it.
Yes, I totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, so very interesting question. I think somebody asked, not on the questions here, but the questions I received before about how have you been able to manage? Obviously, you don't get many injuries, which helps a lot because if I look at, I don't think there's a season, I can't remember one where you didn't run a PB, personal best in South Africa, PR, Americans, personal record. Um, so how do you manage that? I mean, it's amazing to see every season, season after season, it's a new personal best or a PR, or
Yeah.
how do you
I
manage
definitely pride myself in having
that?
run at PRs or PBs almost every season. It definitely makes the journey a lot more fun and a lot more
Absolutely.
enjoyable.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're getting to see these little PBs and PRs come up
yes,
and kind of get rewarded for your hard work.
yes,
On the other side, on the flip side, I haven't had any huge jumps. Every year it's just a couple seconds.
yes,
Whereas some
yes,
people, I feel like they may not run a PR every season, but every once in a while they'll have these huge big jumps to kind of the
yes,
next
yes, yes.
level. I
What
would
do you
say,
prefer though?
well, I haven't really had the huge jump, so I can't say, but I'm enjoying my journey. It's unique to me, and I think that it's been because I haven't had many injuries. So
Yeah,
every year I'm just kind of able to like stack the blocks, the training blocks on top of each other, get stronger and stronger, a little bit faster every season.
absolutely.
And that's kind of what's allowed me to make progress every year and every season. Um, I think I've also tried to give myself a little bit of a extra stimulus every year. So whether it be, or maybe not every year, but every few years. So, from going from Johan Furry to Coach Harder in Arkansas, Then I stayed with Coach Harder for about a year and a half after graduating and going professional. And then I realized that I needed something else. I needed some professional training partners to kind of push me and take me to that next level. And that's when I joined Joe Bossard's group out in Colorado. You know, it was great working with him, but I wasn't training with my training partners every day because I was still living in Arkansas. So then making the transition to Arkansas. So I think also pushing yourself, getting outside of your comfort zone every now and then has also allowed me to, you know, make those steps every year and get those PRs.
Absolutely. I think it's, yeah, like you said, those small like rewards definitely make the journey like, you know, it's, you know, you can always be like, listen, I'm getting faster. I'm getting
Yeah,
faster.
exactly.
So
Yeah, people
that's
sometimes ask me like, how much longer are you going to run for? And it's like, well, I'm still getting faster.
getting
So
faster. Exactly. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna take more questions. We've got I missed one over here. The next runner says you're such an inspiration, Dom. That's not a question, but I think that would be nice to hear.
thank you.
There's one that's saying, do you plan on running comrades in the future? Way maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line,
Oh
following
my
in Dana's
gosh.
footsteps.
You know, if you had asked me that a year ago, I would have said no. But today, I'm gonna say yes.
Wow.
The
Okay.
yeah, the longer stuff, the longer training runs, the longer workouts definitely are my strength. They're my strong point. And I do think that my future lies in the longer events.
Wow.
Comrades is a very long event, but I
Wow.
just feel like if I'm gonna run the marathon one day and I'm a South African, I have to come home and run the Comrades.
You have to, at least.
Yeah.
Another question. Okay, I've got who's this? Nikki Pan says, Nikki Pan says hello from Greece. And then we've got Wazy the realist. You know, people have such interesting names. Wazy the realist says, what section of the run is the hardest to overcome? So which part of your race do you have to dig the hardest, you know, to make sure that you come out better?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the 5K for this and give an answer for the 5K. I'm gonna say like 3 laps to go, 4 laps to go. When you can't quite see the finish line, but you're starting to get really tired, that's definitely the point for me where I'm having to dig the deepest, really focus, not lose focus, and just like keep grinding. Yeah, 3 or 4 laps. So that's like 1,200 meters to 1,600 meters to go in a 5K. Yeah, mile to go. It's starting to burn, you know, and you can't quite see the finish line yet. When you get like 2 laps to go, it's like I can make it. I have 800 meters. That when you can't see the finish line, starts to get really tough.
No, that's crazy. And then you still, I mean, the thing is, you're hurting already, and you know the laps are only gonna start getting faster and faster.
Yeah, you're going to start winding it up.
It's always interesting to see. And then let me see. Yeah, I've got another one here. It says from Sune MC. She's asking, do you train 2 times a day?
Yes. Actually, Emma and I were laughing about this morning. We do 2 runs, I think like 5 to 6 times a week. So quite a few days. We break up our week with hard days and easy days. Hard days are our workout days. They're also the days that we lift in the gym, and then we will double in the afternoon. And our double ranges from like 5 to 6 kilometers. So double 5 to 6 times a week. So most days.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. And in the gym, are you guys? Do you do damage in the gym? What's happening in the gym? Are we doing?
Yeah,
Are we
we're
stretching?
actually pretty strong. We're pretty strong. Like we're doing real lifts. Like we're doing deadlifts. We're doing thrusters and stuff like that. We definitely lift some weight.
So you lift.
Yeah, we lift. Yeah, we're also doing a lot of like functional movements. You know, we're definitely working on you know, smaller muscles too, like even doing like toe and foot exercises, but we're also doing some big heavy lifts. We like to move some weight around.
Yeah, I mean, what's the use? The weights have to be moved. Somebody has to do it.
Exactly.
I'm going to take another question here from Tineka Kluta. She says, Dom, who is your running inspiration? Someone who is currently still running. Is it somebody who is currently still running is the question?
That's such a good question. Growing up for a little bit, my inspiration or my idol was Kelly Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like being in South Africa, I kind of gravitated more to Europe rather than the States. Then when I came over to the States and was kind of like watching the US girls, I would say like Jenny Simpson and
oh, yes.
those girls. Definitely love watching the marathon scene out here in the US. So watching Des Linden win Boston and Shalane Flanagan win New York. I can't not say that those girls are my inspiration. And then just my teammates. Like, it sounds corny, but to see my teammates work so hard on a daily basis, you can't not be inspired by them. I mean, watching Emma, she is just like the most level-headed, composed athlete. She really doesn't get fazed by the uncontrollables, and watching her win medals at the past 3 world championships is just incredible. Watching my teammate Laura go and get 5th at the US Marathon Trials this February was such an inspiration. It was such a hard course. The race was stacked. Then I have Aisha and Corey, who are just grinders. I have Maddie, who works a full-time job. She's a registered dietitian and is out on the track doing the same workouts as us. So I really have some incredible training partners that make me, that inspire me. We've got a new training partner, Danny Jones, who just graduated from college. She is such a talent. She's 4 years younger than me, and she can keep up with me on all the workouts. She's definitely keeping me in check. So definitely inspired by all my teammates.
That's cool. I think that's what I pick up from most of the athletes. It's like there's, in the beginning, obviously you have one person that you look to, but then as you grow and as you learn, it's almost like you pick different traits from different athletes, and you almost mesh it up into, whatever you need at a certain time. So it's always interesting to hear.
That's a very good way to put it. Almost like you mash it all up into one athlete that you want to be. You're inspired to be a little bit of that, and make one big goal.
Absolutely. Another question, I think it's very similar. It says, who is your role model or idol? Do you have one?
Yeah, I kind of say the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Okay, cool. No, super duper. And then, so another question I wanted to ask, but you kind of almost touched on it, but I think it will be interesting to hear it. Did you always know you do athletics? Did you always know I know you did like all the sports. I think the only thing you're missing was karate and judo there, but you pretty much did them all.
Yeah, I think I did. When I was like 12 years old, I think I was around 12 years old, I was watching, I think it was the Athens Olympic Games, and I knew I wanted to be an Olympian. And, there isn't field hockey or netball. Oh, there is now field hockey. What am I talking about? Sorry. But I guess athletics, track and field seemed like it was going to be the sport that would allow me to fulfill that dream and goal. I thought I would be like an 800-meter runner like Kelly Holmes. Didn't think I would be running 25 times around the track. I hoped it would just be 2. But I did think that, track and field was going to be my sport. It was going to be the sport to kind of get me to a higher level.
That's interesting. So you knew at 12 years old already.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a runner. Like, I was one of those little kids that just was like, always had so much energy.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna take one more question and I'm gonna wrap it up.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, we've been at it for a while. I'm not complaining, but yeah.
It's late in South Africa too.
Yeah, just to respect your time. The question is, what is your biggest goal? That's the last question I'm taking here.
Oh, that's a scary goal. Oh my gosh. And I haven't told a lot of people this, but definitely can see myself moving to the marathon in the next few years. And my goal, my really big goal, is to win a big marathon. So whether that be marathon major or like a gold label marathon, it's kind of crazy to say this out loud because, and especially in front of like 48 people or whatever, because I've never
More
even
will watch
raced.
it. I think thousands will watch later. But
I've
yeah.
never even raced a half marathon before, so let alone a marathon. But I do think that that's in my future, and would love to be on a podium one day, and hopefully on top of that podium, holding the South African flag high.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dominique Scott-Efurd, Dom Scott, the one and only. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. When you're in SA, it's always a pleasure to see you as well. And you can see how much people support you and they really love you. Sharice Sims the same. We back you. Yeah, continue to shine. I think it's very important for South Africa to see female athletes do so well, and to become professional middle and long distance athletes. It's not something that is as common as it should be, but we know we've got a long list of brilliant long distance runners, and you're one of those as well. So we look forward to seeing more. Have fun with the mile as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, mile on the 27th. We'll definitely be going live so that people can stream in from all over the world and watch us racing in Colorado at altitude. It's going to be hard, but we're going to have fun.
Is there anything you want to say to everybody who's watching and those who will watch probably tomorrow and going forward? What message do you want to say to South Africa?
I guess first, just say thank you. Thank you for all the love and the support that you guys continue to give me. Thank you for, following my journey. I know I've been where you guys have been. I wasn't always an Olympian. I had to also work my way up the ladder. And so to just tell everyone to believe in yourself, to set small goals for yourself that act as stepping stones towards your big goal, and just slowly build your way up. Never stop believing, and that big dreams can come true.
Absolutely. From Backtrack side, we'll always support and we'll always try to inform people of what's happening when you abroad, as well as this side. It's always fun and interesting to watch and follow. But yeah, thanks a lot for your time. I know you've got a lot of things and you got training probably later as well. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. Sleep tight.
All right, cheers. Goodbye.
Bye.